Well, the first step is exactly that, what you say. You want the light bulb to go up and you want to be able to say, oh my God, I'm a boarding school survivor. We call that a recognition stage. That's the start of it. Then I would advise read everything you can on the subject, but get yourself into one of our workshops. Certainly read my original book, which I wrote in the 90s, came out in 2020, The Making of Them, where I'm quite sort of tentative about it all. In Wounded Leaders, I kind of go more full at it. And there's another book called Trauma, Abandonment and Privilege, which is more for therapists. But the best thing is to do one of our workshops. We do it over 2 weekends. And the first weekend, really, you get a chance to really tell your story, and sometimes they're very moving things, that stories that haven't been told or heard, for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Men in their 30s to men in their 70s in these things. And the second weekend, we focus on actually how can you sort of deconstruct the strategic survival personality. And that's where you start to move into the next stage of our sort of recipe for recovery, which call it the R.A.C model. You need a bit of a breakdown first. You need to recognize, then you need to accept it. And you need to accept that actually you did your best at time, but you also really need to accept that your survival personality is now not working for you in the way it should do, and probably hurting other people in the process. And you have to take responsibility for it. And then change, comes after that. One of the things is that we get people to see is, can you actually see how the survival personality you invented at 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, is still trying to run your life. You're trying to manage your work life, your intimate life like this. And we say to people, it's like, your life is very powerful. Your life is like an 800 series BMW. And a little boy of 8 would love to drive it. But you'd be absolutely nuts to give him the keys to it. It's too much. And yet, we've given the keys to this very powerful thing to the 8-year-old. It's just bonkers.
Thank you for explaining that. Talking of that 8-year-old, quite clear that men I talked to who went to boarding school at 7 or 8 had a profoundly different experience in life compared to those who went later on. In your research and experience, what difference do you see in those who started boarding at 7 compared to 10, compared to 13, or even compared to 16?
Well, I think the earlier you went away, it's more likely that your dissociation of your emotions is strongest, because just doing it for a long time. And the more likely there's more anxiety running underneath than you realize. So you could say the younger you go, the worse it is. However, starting at public school, say at 13, you might be joining a group, let's say you haven't been, you start at 13, who've got very, very skillful at bullying by that stage. So some of the excesses of bullying that happens in the sort of first few years of public school is quite hair-curling, some of the things I've heard. So kids can be very vicious. The other thing is, you're going through the major developmental stages. So in order to really get any good at this work, I had to go away and train in developmental psychology, which isn't really done in Britain. So I had to do it in Holland. And actually, what you realize is going through puberty in an institution can be really, really damaging and really sort of spike your sexual life or your sexual, I don't dare say identity these days, your sexual self-concept for life. Because actually you need your parents. At those age, parents don't just have to be around like when you're 7. They actually have to be doing something. Parents have to do some parenting.